Weather across the globe is tied together, and here on the First Coast, we're no strangers to the possibility of dangerous storms. Meteorologist Robert Spett is on your side this morning with a preview of a nationally televised special and its connection to the anniversary of a devastating weather event.
It was 20 years ago. One of the deadliest natural disasters in history took place, the Indian Ocean Tsunami. The National Geographic is releasing on November 24th a documentary called Tsunami, A Race Against Time, where they look back at this event. I had the privilege to sit down with a geologist who was working at the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center on that day and watched it all play out. Why it's important for local populations to stay educated on this threat, even if it's only remote.
Most important things in all this, regardless of what the warning centers are doing and the technology, which is extremely important, is the awareness at the coasts of the population. But the things naturally wane, not just interest, but also budgets and keeping the warning centers staffed and functioned, and all of this with time. The problem is tsunamis are a very rare occurrence. But from a safety point of view, it's tough because you have to keep this message in people's minds on the coastlines.
In the documentary, he explains the challenges on that day, his role, and I asked him to just kind of elaborate on that.
Basically, we're talking 20 years ago, the technology wasn't where it is, number one. Number two, more importantly, we were the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center. We were it was just in the wrong ocean basin, basically, and we were flying blind, essentially. Now, we did have some tools, and that was providing us successively larger and larger estimates of its size. And with each of those larger estimates of its size, it becomes way, way logarithmically more dangerous and capable of producing a much, much worse tsunami with each of these upgrades in magnitude.
Now, tsunamis are already rare in the Pacific and even more so in the Atlantic, but you may have seen these signs on our local beaches saying, hey, this could be a tsunami hazard area. Now, I asked him, is there a possibility of one taking place here on the First Coast?
The answer is yes, but not the highest probability in the world of a really devastating one. I would be much, much more worried about the obvious, gigantic storms more and more often with more and more intensity and flooding.
Despite that, there is that remote chance, or maybe you're just traveling outside of the First Coast.
There is a large earthquake, which happens to be near the coast, and you feel the shaking. Take that as your tsunami warning. Once you're finished protecting whatever protection measure you're taking for the earthquake, take that as your tsunami warning and just walk inland.
I'm meteorologist Robert Spett, First Coast News on your side.